Hello everybody, it's Wendy, Crooked House Herbals. It's great to be back with you. I hope you can hear me okay. I am on my cell phone as usual, and I'm excited to be with you for another episode of Weeds and Wisdom. It is July 25th, 2024. And tonight we're going to talk about something that's pretty exciting. Unfortunately, my printers did not really want to cooperate with printing out all my notes, so I'll just have to use my memory and try to remember everything I wanted to talk to you about. Hopefully you can see this okay. I don't want it to come crashing down. Hang on. Just a second here. Hold on. Gotta make sure my little guy is upright. There we go. Good? Yeah. Okay. Tonight, we're going to talk about two different topics. It's kind of lengthy, so I want to go ahead and get started. The first one I want to talk to you about is herbal applications for pets. All right? I treat my animals, for the most part, completely naturally, and seem to do fairly well with that. I don't have any issues. If they need wormed or have something going on there, they get diatomaceous earth for a week. Actually, if I remember to do it once a month or once every 6 weeks, then they don't even have worm issues. I don't have very much in the way of worm issues. But I also, I have my older dog, Andy, and I have a formula that I've made called Suma Wrestler, because it has Suma root in it, that helps her with her, with arthritis, with being ambulatory, but it's also a cancer fighter. We're going to talk about that root a little bit more in a minute. And then, other things that come up. I have Restore, which rebuilds bone, cartilage, and flesh tissue, and it'll do it on a dog just as well as it does it on a human, and which is Comfrey and Burdock, and so those things are kind of a given. But what I wanted to talk to you about as well were some of the other things that you can use for your pets, and things that you may already have and that you may already be using, and what you can be using them for, instead of spending exorbitant amount of money, even at a feed store or something like that, to buy things that quite possibly you are already using for yourself or have access to. So, as a reminder, real quickly, just remember that if you want to catch up, or if you want to view any of our previous lives, you can go to Crooked House Herbals YouTube channel, and there all of the Weeds and Wisdom episodes are archived. And I also have some other things on there too that I've done in years gone by. We can spend some time there. I also have Crooked House Herbals Facebook page, obviously, because you're there, and the website, crookedhouseherbals.com. On there, I do have a complete tutorial, what am I trying to say? Course. It's about 7.5 hours long with tutorials, how-tos, and takes you through making tinctures and salves and creams and syrups and decoctions and that kind of stuff. It also covers, I believe, 15 or 16 different herbs, in-depth identification and application, constituents, and all of that sort of thing. It does have a downloadable manual that goes with it, and it comes, when you order it, you choose, you make some selections for a small kit that I send to you so that you can make some of your own stuff. So there is that. That's at crookedhouseherbals.com. It's under workshops and learning. All right. Okay, let's go. All right, the first thing I want to talk to you about is pet health, okay? There has been quite a lot of scientific study and research done. There are some good veterinarians out there that are looking for alternative ways to help our furry friends, and they have done some good research for us. If you want a good resource for that, you can go to the Veterinary Botanical Medical Association. It was founded in 2001, I believe, but you can look at that up online, and they have also some other good articles and good research if it's something that you're interested in. Okay, let's just start at the beginning, shall we? With the letter A. The first up is aloe vera. Aloe vera, we know, I mean, if you've studied with me at all, I am always talking about aloe vera because it is one of God's most amazing gifts to us. It is very well documented, well researched. It's an ancient herb, and it's been around for a very long time. You just might not have ever thought about using it with your dog or your pet. Even the spiky leaf can be beneficial to the dogs for probably some of the same reasons that it's beneficial for people. And I've told you about that before. If you slice the leaf long ways and you can scoop out the gelatinous stuff that's inside the leaves and eat that, it's very, very good for your digestion, for IBS, for any of that kind of stuff. But it's also actually really nice for your skin. Very good for your skin. It's very anti-inflammatory, and it heals really quickly. So if you have a pet who has got a lot of itching going on, or maybe they have some tummy trouble, maybe they've got eye irritations, like around, how sometimes they get the stuff around their eyes, or they get hot spots, or any of that kind of stuff. Aloe vera. It is very cooling, it's very healing and anti-inflammatory. It's completely safe for them. If they lick it, it's just going inside and doing its thing inside. So it is, and it's really good. I mean, they might have some gastrointestinal issues, and if that was the case, that aloe would just go right to it and help it. So that would be one of the first things that you would want to keep track of. Now, do remember, the same caveat goes to the dogs as it goes to the people, and that is, if you eat the outer leaf of it, or too much of it, it will be a laxative. So, you don't want your dogs to go chowing down on your aloe plants. Keep them up where they won't eat them. But it honestly won't hurt them. It'll just give them the runs. So that's on you. Okay. The next one is calendula flowers. Now, I use calendula in several of my formulas. It is a very good antifungal. It's an anti-inflammatory. It's beneficial for humans and canines. You could even steam calendula flowers and mix them in with their food. Most commonly, it's used to treat wounds or scrapes or cuts or that kind of thing. But you can brew a real strong tea of it and use it as a skin wash. You could apply the flowers like directly to the wound, like a dressing or some kind of a poultice. It's a really good antiseptic wash, and you combine that with some plantain. Make a nice tea with calendula and plantain, and even throw some aloe in there. You've got a pretty powerful antiseptic wash. It will inhibit bacterial growth, so it might be something that you would want to, bathe your dogs with. If you're going to bathe your dogs, I don't give my dogs baths much. They are outside most of the time, and it's really a futile endeavor. Beside the fact that I think we overbathe our dogs. I don't think it's good for them to be bathed all the time. They get lots of rainwater though. Rainwater's soft. But any kind of a wound, you know, you might want to consider adding calendula flowers to it. It's antibacterial and it's antifungal. It will help prevent an infection if they get into some barbed wire, or if they, you know, get into a scuff with another dog or whatever. Just remember, the calendula is good. There's some good scientific research that supports this. So again, you can look that stuff up. Very anti-inflammatory. So again, if you have a dog that's got hot spots, or if you've got, you know, some inflammation, like they're licking their paws all the time or whatever, aloe and calendula are both good ones for that. And you can use it on your cats, and you can use it on horses. It's safe for all those animals. Another one is actually it's an acid. It's a form of myristoylic acid, and it's like a fatty acid, but it helps treat pain and joint mobility problems. I just kind of stick with the fatty acids that I know, because they're easier to get your hands on. Some flaxseed, omega-3s, omega-6s, you know, those kinds of things, fish oil, that kind of stuff. I can give fish oil to my dog, but can't put it in my body. Ugh. I taste it all day. So, but if your pet suffers with osteoarthritis, or it's got, you know, some joint issues, these fatty acids are very, very good for lubricating and getting the motion and alleviating the pain. And you could, like I said, you could easily use fish oil or flaxseed. Either one of those would be good. Just drizzle some over their food. Let's see, what else can I tell you about that? It's a good pain management one, because it's going to lubricate, and it will help some with the inflammatory conditions. It's just, you know, to me, it's something you add to an existing formula. I wouldn't use it all by itself, because it doesn't do enough for me. I like the most bang for my buck, and so that's why I love plantain, because plantain heals really fast, and it sucks out toxins, and it's antifungal, and it just covers the bases, and you can go pick it out of your yard. And so it's still one of my all-time favorites. But a lot of the same types of things you can do with aloe vera, you know. So I like I said, I'm just liking to get the most bang for my buck. But if you do have an extreme situation and your dog is not very mobile, you might want to consider adding that to their food. You know, there's a reason that you always heard in movies, or, you know, maybe you had a grandmother that did this, but they were always giving you ginger tea when you didn't feel well. Ginger tea or peppermint tea. Well, it's because of the benefits of ginger, but you know, it has the same effect on our furry friends. Ginger tea will do the same things for them that it does for us. You can use it fresh, you can tincture it, you can powder it. When your dog is having tummy issues, and especially, you know, in older dogs, then I've got a cat, then I'm gonna see what I can do about this, because part of his problem is he goes out and hunts and he eats all kinds of gross stuff, and then he throws up. He gets a tummy ache and he throws up for a couple of days, and you're looking at going, what is this? So it's been interesting. But ginger will help settle their stomachs and, you know, give them some relief there. As we also know, ginger is also a very good anti-inflammatory. They'll either like it or they won't. That's the one thing with ginger. That's one reason I kind of like using aloe a little bit more with pets, is because it doesn't really have a smell, a strong smell or a strong taste. So you can schmooze it in there, especially if you give them like wet food, you know, like with the cat. The cats get a little bit of the wet food with some crunchies on top, and I can mix that aloe vera in there and they don't even know. So you kind of have to get sneaky with some of them. And ginger has a stronger smell, so you may not have too much success with it, but then, you know, some dogs love it. Like my dog likes broccoli, and that's a pretty stinky thing. So give it a shot. You know how good ginger is for us, so those same things translate to your pet. Just keep that in mind. You know, obviously if they throw it up, then it's not one you want to use with them anymore. Another thing that's surprisingly good for pets that is also very good for people is golden seal. I tell people all the time, and I've probably told all of you, that it is a natural antibiotic. So it's a cure-all for a lot of things. The indigenous people of North America have used golden seal to the point now where it's on the endangered list. Most of the times, kind of stays there. It works by impacting the respiratory tract, the mucous membranes. It'll help your urinary tract. It'll help your gastrointestinal tract. It helps your mouth. It helps your eyes. It's an amazing herb. It can treat stomach and bowel issues. It also works well for eye infections or weepy eyes. You know, my little Andy has a weepy eye. If I give her my Vital Pet Immune Boost regularly, she stays pretty good. She doesn't have too much of a problem because it helps her boost her immune system, and it fights off the allergies. And, you know, it's usually, I kind of have to beef it up around the change of the seasons. It seems like that's when she has the worst time. But she does pretty well now. Especially since she's going to be 15 in October. Let's see. You know, it's also a good wound medication. Like I said, it's a natural antibiotic, but one thing you might not know about golden seal is it's a really good insect repellent. And that's got potential. You can either use it as a wash or a tea or a wound medication or a tincture, however you want to give it to your animals, you know, whatever works for you. I have been, up until just recently, I have a combination made up for Andy that's the Vital Pet Immune Boost and my Phytosympathy, which is a formula that I made. Actually, it started out as a formula for my grandson who has Asperger's. It has since helped so many people with so many things. It really does. It works with your cognitive function. It helps to strengthen your cognitive abilities, memory, and that kind of thing. It's also been very beneficial for people who are like manic or have bipolar issues or depression, you know, those kinds of things, the swings. But with her, I started giving it to her because I could tell that every now and then she was having these senior moments, you know, these little doggy dementia things where she get this kind of wild look in her eyes and not really know where she was and wander around, and usually in the middle of the night. So I've been giving that to her, and I was putting it on her food, which was working fine until she kind of wised up to it and stopped eating her food, because she didn't like it on her food. So now I just suck some up into a pretty good sized syringe and shoot it in her mouth in the morning. And that way she can still enjoy her food and get her medicine. The only only warning that I would give you with Golden Seal with dogs is if your dog is pregnant or lactating, I would probably hold off, because it will actually cause uterine contractions, and it can also be passed through the breast milk, obviously. So don't give it to your dog if it's pregnant. So that's Golden Seal. And, you know, whenever you're trying anything new, go slow. Use a small amount and work up to something that is giving you the effect that you want. Okay? Don't lambast them unless you are positive. You know how this is going to work. Go slow and ease in. A lot of it also depends on, you know, the weight of the animal and that kind of thing. If it's a tiny little dog, it's not going to get the same amount as, you know, my Great Pyrenees. Okay? So, yeah, he has to have a lot of stuff. Okay, another one is milk thistle. And milk thistle is actually used in humans mostly to treat liver issues. But it can be very beneficial to dogs. It is a very powerful antioxidant. It's a good anti-inflammatory. It works, you know, to stimulate the bile in the liver. And it also promotes kidney function. Has been documented to have anti-cancer effects. And you can use it as a tincture again. You could even, you know, make a syrup with it, or, you know, something. If you're making it specifically for your pet, you know, use some vegetable glycerin and make a syrup, or, I mean, you know, like a glycerite instead of a tincture. A strong tea and add it to their water. If you know, I mean, I've got a drinker. She drinks. She gets apple cider vinegar in her water. And it, you know, she'll drink an entire container of water every day. So I could probably get away with that. But if your dogs, you know, are more just kind of not real serious drinkers, then you might want to figure out a different way to get it into them. Okay, another one is kava. Okay, now kava is a great pain reliever. It's also a really nice sedative. So if you've got a nervous dog, or if you've got one that's terrified of thunderstorms, or, you know, you need something like that, kava is a good one. When I moved up here, I had to move all my animals up here, and it's like a 3.5 hour trek, and my Pyrenees had never been in the car. So we literally had to dose him with kava and pretty much knock him out. He was just like, you know, of course he's 100 pounds and we had to pick him up and get him in, but we couldn't get him to go in the car. I still can't get him to go in the car. So if he ever has to go anywhere, he has to get kava'd. But kava, and then also, you know, for the same type of thing, if you've got a nervous thing going on, lavender essential oil, rub it in their ears, rub it on their paws, calms them right down. Literally, I mean, you can count to 25, and they're just like, so those two things are very good for calming a nervous dog. Okay, so next time that you decide, that you would like to have a nice cup of chamomile tea before bedtime or whatever, include your dog or your cat with that, because it's very good for them. You can actually enjoy this drink with your dog. She can have her own cup of chamomile tea. It's very beneficial for them. It's used as a sedative and a muscle relaxer. It also is very anti-inflammatory. and it can help with gastrointestinal issues as well. Chamomile. You can also use it as a topical treatment for like inflamed skin. Mix it with some calendula and aloe, and you've got a really good topical treatment for skin. I'm just going to say this. Most of the reason that our poor dogs suffer like they do nowadays with hot spots and skin issues and this and that and the other is because they are heavily vaccinated, and the dog food they eat is full of junk that is causing them to get sick. So you got to start there as far as keeping your pets healthy and free from symptoms. Dogs never got cancer when I was growing up. Our dogs lived until, to be ripe old aged dogs, and they never had to go to the vet and get, this, that, and the other. They didn't have tumors. They didn't have cancer. They didn't have all of that stuff. But they just ate regular old, the dog food had like 4 ingredients. That was it. Not so many that you can't eat. You got to get the glasses out to even read it all, and then you can't understand what you're reading half the time. And they didn't have to have 1,600 vaccinations like they try to do with our kids as well. You got them a rabies shot in December, and that was pretty much it. I don't vaccinate my dogs, except for I do give them a rabies shot because they eat all kinds of weird stuff out there. But I don't do that. And I try very hard to get very clean food. And, until I ended up with 3 dogs, I was making my dog food. Which, depending on how many dogs you have, if you've only got one, you might want to consider doing that, only because dog food is ridiculously expensive. So you might want to just go to a big box store and buy a whole bunch of chickens and pressure cook them and make your own. Just saying. But anyway, you have to start there, because that's what's causing a lot of their problems. Our poor animals it's happening to them just like it's happening to us. It's all about the money. If you don't believe me, just go buy a 50-pound bag of dog food. That's of any quality at all. You're going to spend $80. Okay, I'm off my soapbox. So, back to chamomile. All right, it's good for inflamed skin. You can get it powdered. You can, like I said, you can make a tea. If you've got it growing, use it yourself. Pick your flowers and do it. You can make salves and creams and ointments with chamomile. It does have a sedative effect, so it's an evening thing, unless, you want them to chill out. Again, if you know a thunderstorm's coming, then I would pre-treat, because I have an Aussie that once she's jacked up, I can't get her to drink or anything. So I will usually give her a little, if I know a storm's coming, I'll give her a little bowl of goat's milk, and in it will be kava and chamomile. And then she can just slide right through that storm and not have any issues. Another one that might surprise you is black and green tea. We like those teas, but they also have some good qualities and some good things for dogs. It's actually beneficial, believe it or not. High quality tea. Don't buy the junk stuff from like the young shoots, like matcha, or something that's is a high quality tea. It will have what is it called? It's called like catechin or something like that. It's an active ingredient in tea, and it's what makes it a really strong antioxidant. That's why I always tell people, drink green tea, drink lots of it. That's all I drink pretty much. I'm not a coffee drinker, so I've always drank a lot of green tea. I don't have cholesterol issues. I don't have blood pressure issues, and it's a very good antioxidant. It will also reduce cancer cells and keep them from forming and prevent inflammation in the gastrointestinal tract and their liver and your liver. So drink up. Green tea contains caffeine though, so don't give it to them at night if you want them to go to bed. It's not the same kind of caffeine, and it doesn't really affect them like black tea would, or, you know, coffee or something, but it does have a kind of caffeine in it, so it might be more of a morning thing. You don't want it to be, you know, jacked up while you're trying to go to sleep. But that's probably going to happen if you're giving them like multiple cups a day. I mean, if you just gave them a cup of tea when you have a cup of tea, you know, or just one a day, but it's very good for them. Okay, another one. And this one is good only for cats. Okay, don't give this one to your dogs. But catnip. And we all know about catnip with cats, and it makes them kind of crazy, and they play, and they do. But stimulates the appetite. Well, actually, you can use this for dogs, but it's kind of like ADD medicine. You know how it hypes up cats, but it actually calms down dogs. So if you have a nervous dog, you know, make them some catnip tea, and let them have chamomile catnip tea. It also will help them sleep. It will help with their digestion. Just boil a cup of water with about 4 teaspoons or so of like fresh catnip leaves. It's very easy to grow. If you're using dried, then just use about a teaspoon of dried catnip and steep it. And then once it's cool, strain it and give to your dog or your cat if you want your cat to play. Cats aren't they're not like dogs though. They don't eat just everything you give them. They look at you and go, what is this? Are you serious? You want me to eat this? So you have to kind of trick cats. They're not as easy to deal with. Okay, something else that's very good. It's very rich in vitamin A, which is helpful to the eyes and other things, as dandelion. Okay, it supports cardiovascular health. It improves tooth enamel. I wish I would have known this years ago because my dog's teeth are not so great now. And it will optimize liver function, which is what most of us know about dandelion. We know dandelion, we equate that with liver. So, but it's also very good for these other things, and it's fine for your dog. You can add dandelion tea or powder to your dog's food. And that's probably the smartest way to do it, because again, it's just got a nice earthy taste. They won't mind it, and you know, they're getting the benefits right off the bat. Another one that you're probably going to go, what, is oregano. Oregano, we know, is very antibacterial. It's antifungal. It's high quality medicine for people, but it's a source of fiber. It's a source of iron. It's a source of fatty acids. It's just one of those really great cures from the cupboard. And it contains thymol, which is, it inhibits the growth of bacteria. So if we've got some teeth things going on, you know, maybe some gum deterioration or that kind of thing, oregano would be a really good thing. If what I would probably do is make an infusion with some olive oil and oregano, and then I would rub it on your dog's gums, around their teeth and stuff. In fact, I think I'm going to try that with my dog. She's pretty good about letting me mess with her mouth. So, antioxidant. It's actually a stronger antioxidant than even like blueberries or apples. That's saying something. because you know I'm always pushing apples. So oregano, antifungal, inhibits bacteria. It's good for treating wounds. Prepare a tea just like the other way, and you can use it for an upset stomach or sore muscles. So these are all things that most people have around their house, and that's why I'm wanting to talk to you about this, because this is a great way for you to naturally treat your animals without introducing drugs, chemicals, not to mention breaking the bank. I mean, it takes a little time. Get yourself some different things prepared and have them in a special place so that you have your doggy or your animal first aid kit, and you can grab these things when you need them for your animals. And then you know that they're safe, and you know that, you know, they're beneficial, and they're not going to cost you $150 every time you turn around. Okay, the next one that I want to talk to you about is, why is this not going? Okay. Controversial, because I was always told that you don't want to give garlic to your dog. But I was told that after, for years, I drizzled garlic oil on my dog's food. Right? I figured it's antibiotic. I'm going to give my dog, and it was olive oil. It was an infused olive oil. And so I would drizzle it on their food. Well, it's good for them. Some veterinarians will say, don't give your dogs garlic. But garlic is not the same as onions. It's a different animal, okay? It's a different vegetable. It's a different herb, okay? And it's got hundreds of beneficial properties. It's very potent, so you don't have to use a lot. But it's antibacterial, it's antimicrobial, antibiotic, antiviral. It's a deworming agent. It will help their digestive system form good bacteria. It's a, you know, if you have to give your dogs antibiotics for whatever reason, I would give them garlic as well, because it helps their gut replace what's being taken away from them by a pharmaceutical. Fresh garlic is the best. Again, this is one of those things, if you can start them when they're little with these kinds of things, with, you know, just a little half a teaspoon of garlic infused oil on their food. The olive oil is good for them as well, or flaxseed oil. Then you're getting your omega-3s in there, and 6s. And then you can increase it as they get older and they're used to the taste. That's what I did with my dogs with apple cider vinegar. You know, when they were little, they've just had it. They've always had it. So they don't really know the difference. You know, they're fine with it. Okay, so medium-sized dogs would need about a half a clove or a quarter of a teaspoon of powder. Dogs on the smaller scale would require about half that amount. So that gives you some kind of an idea of how much to use. Another one is parsley. It's very concentrated food source. And it's got iron, it's got folate, it's got A, it's got C, it's got K. It's a really good addition to your dog's diet. Some dogs like, you know, those eat it. Sometimes you have to fool other ones. So if that's the case, you know, grow yourself fresh parsley and then dehydrate it or dry it until it's, you know, doesn't have that same taste, and then sprinkle it in their food. That's what I would do. You could make a tea with it, which is very mild and very bland. They wouldn't even notice it. You could just put it in their water, their drinking water, and they would drink it. Sage is another one. Contains A and E and K, helps support healthy immune system. It's anti-inflammatory. It helps alleviate arthritis and other inflammatory conditions. So are you seeing a trend here? Again, we have everything we need. It's always been here. We're just on the journey of re-educating ourselves. That's what I'm here for. Because we have been told and we have been taught that we don't have the skill or the brains or the ability to take care of ourselves or our animals because we haven't been to school for 12 years. Well, I have, but most people haven't. And, you know, you just don't have what it takes. Well, that's not true. You just need to know a little more. And then you need to, you know, get off your tukis and go dig up some dirt or get some nice pots and grow yourself some medicine. Because it's there. It's available to us. It's provided. Okay? So back to sage. It's a wonder herb. It also contains antimicrobial properties. It helps reduce free radicals and protects against oxidation. It makes me just want to go have a cup of tea right now. How about you guys? It eases gas and bloating. It helps treat, you know, the GI issues. Easiest way to give your dog sage is by using fresh or dried. Mix it into their food. If you make your own homemade dog treats, that's another way you could get some mixed into that. If you want to use it as a topical, take some dried sage and some Epsom salts and water and, you know, create a solution and, you know, do a wash with that. It'll help with skin infections. It'll, you know, again, it's antifungal, it's antimicrobial, anti. Okay? And it's easy to grow. All right, another one that people, you know, I mean, I use this a lot and I provide this a lot for a lot of my clients is slippery elm. Slippery elm has a lot of vitamins in it. It's very good, especially if you want to start a puppy with it. It's good for old, weak, and young dogs. It works to coat and heal your inflamed tissues within the body. I especially use it with licorice root for Crohn's, for GI issues, for lots of those kinds of things. Stomach, kidneys, ulcers, digestive problems, constipation, and diarrhea. I mean, depending on how much you use, you get one effect or the other. It's a healer. It's a healer, and it goes into your digestive tract, and it just works healing magic in there. I would use about a teaspoon of the dried inner bark with a teaspoon of water and some honey or something that they like, peanut butter maybe, something like that, and give it to them that way. Or like I said, you can make a tea, even with slippery elm. And if they're better with the liquids, you know me, I'm all about a turkey baster. Used it lots of times. It's fast and you get a bunch in there. Okay. Turmeric, we know about turmeric. Same things apply. Make sure that you've got some black pepper or some kind of fat along with it. Put turmeric, make turmeric peanut butter balls and give them to your dogs. Antioxidant, anti-inflammatory, helps with their bile production, stomach, liver. It's a good pain reliever. It will clean their teeth. Did you know that? Turmeric will make your teeth white. So, turmeric. Okay. Let's see. As far as essential oils go that are safe for dogs, I would say lavender, chamomile, peppermint, frankincense. Frankincense is good for everybody. I'm trying to think if there's anything else I want to talk to you about with this. Natural antihistamines for dogs like I said, I feel like the best way to do is boosting their immune system so that they literally, you know, their own immune system takes care of the allergens. But for reducing inflammation and stuff, quercetin's good. Stinging nettle is very good. Omega-3 fatty acids for the inflammation. Vitamin C. You know, if you have a lot of rose bushes, get some of those rose hips off your rose bushes. They're just chock full of vitamin C. Dry them out, smash them up, put them in your whatever you're using. Those are all good antihistamines. You know, I'm not a big fan of giving your dog Benadryl. I know the vets tell you, just give them a Benadryl. And there was one time before I was an herbalist that I was, you know, anytime I was ever in the kitchen, Andy is always right under my feet. She is the supervisor. And I was cooking and I was in the kitchen making stuff and she wasn't there. And I was like, where's Andy? So I called her and she stuck her head around the corner and I barely recognized her. She was completely swollen out. She had gotten stung by a wasp and her little pointy nose was humongous. And she was just standing there looking at me with this, I don't know what to do with my face look. And so I knew what had happened because we had a lot of wasps that year and she probably bit one and it stung her. So I picked her up and, you know, checked her out for anything else. And then I didn't know what I know now. And so I gave her a Benadryl and it, you know, took down the swelling and knocked her out, of course. And I wish now I would have taken a picture though, because it was really kind of sad. She was unrecognizable. She was this huge puff face. Okay. There's one other thing I want to tell you about, and that is yucca. Yucca root is really good. It's really good. And I'm so tickled because I have yucca growing all around my house. Just a quick rundown on yucca. It is a very good, and you would want to use the root, nutritional aid. And a lot of times, well, it used to be, you could find it in the produce section at a more quality grocery store. Vitamin C, beta carotene, calcium, iron, magnesium, manganese, niacin, phosphorus, protein, B vitamins. You could literally live on yucca. It's got a lot of healing powers. It's got saponins in it, which is one of the reasons but you know, they actually would use yucca root. They'd froth it up and wash their clothes in it because it has a lot of saponins in it. They're glycosides and they foam up. Let's see. But a little bit of a saponin will help your body assimilate the other things that it's taking in. It like dispels and, you know, helps your body assimilate things, breaks them down. And so okay. I'll just put it out there because I don't want to waste too much more time. We are already down to like 10 minutes to go. So if you're interested in that, just do a little research on yucca root for your animals and for you. Literally, you could live on it. It's a phytosterol. It's everything in one little root. So give it a look. A look-see. Okay. Real quick. Oh, rats. Hang on one second. I have to run and get my show and tell. Hold on one sec. Coming back? Okay. All right. Sorry. I wanted to talk to you a little bit about Actually, I had a couple other roots that I wanted to talk to you about. One of them was Suma. I put Suma in my Suma Wrestler for my dog. Just really quickly, some of the things that Suma root is good for. It will help treat anemia, arthritis, cancer, bronchitis, diarrhea, fatigue. So when I give her that formula that I make, she actually is energized. I see the difference. I take it, and I feel the difference. So malaria, rheumatism, stress, ulcers, those are all things that Suma root really, really is good for. It's powerful. Another thing I have in that formula is alfalfa. And alfalfa is so good for everybody, but it's also very good for dogs. It's good for their kidneys. It's good. It's a good protein source, actually. It's good if they have an overly acidic system. Alfalfa is really good. I highly recommend you play around with alfalfa because it's good. Okay, so let me talk to you a little bit about some of the edible plants that you can find, especially in Arkansas, for those of you that are in Arkansas, that you might not know are good survival foods, okay? I told you we were going to start a little trend here, and I'll probably touch on a few every week as I find them. The first one would be acorns, because before long you're going to be, those of you that have oak trees will see the acorns dropping, and you find them in the more heavily treed areas. You harvest them usually in the fall if the squirrels don't beat you to them. They're edible. They're kind of bitter because they have a lot of tannins in them. The white oak trees are probably the less bitter of them all. But you can eat them like you do other nuts, or you could grind it into meal or flour. You could use it in baking. You can use them in like grits. But it is it's a food source. It's a good protein source. You could live on acorns. Okay. Another one is wild asparagus. They're usually found near to gardens or homesteads where asparagus was maybe once planted. You know what asparagus fern looks like, so when you're looking for that, birds and other wildlife sometimes will plant stuff like that too. Wild asparagus, it's a common along like fence rows or ditches. Just don't eat anything like that that's been around where chemicals have been sprayed. You don't want that. That would be found in the early spring. So the little tender stalks of the fern are very good, chock full of springtime tonic vitamins, and it's very good for you. Another one is wild blackberries, and they're pretty much everywhere. Blackberries and raspberries. In Arkansas especially, you can find them all over the place. Midsummer, the leaves even make a really good tea, and they are full of antioxidants, full of vitamins, and they would be a good complement to your acorns and your asparagus. Another one that you can find in like more wet areas, low-lying areas where there's usually a little water, is cattails. They look like corn dogs. Okay, and if you're depending on which part of the plant you're harvesting, the whole thing is very, very good for you. The flower spikes, they can be prepared similar to like corn on the cob. And the cattail heads, the corn dog looking part, can be cooked like a vegetarian meat substitute. You can use it, you can make patties out of it or whatever. So these are all things that if you couldn't find food anywhere else, these are all things that you could literally sustain life and probably be healthier for eating. Okay, you just kind of have to get creative with it. The cattail heads and the rhizomes, you know, the rooty parts down in the ground, all of that's edible. Okay. Dandelions, we've talked about dandelions. Eat, you know, the spring, summer, and fall. The taproot is where all of the heavy-duty medicinal properties. The flowers are very good, and you can eat them as well. The roots are always going to be more bitter because you've got the tannins and stuff in them, but that's where all the power is. So you just suck it up and eat it. But the flowers taste good. I like them in salad. The greens themselves make a good salad. Dandelion greens with some wild violets. These are really good. These are good medicine, and these are good food. Mix these up with your dandelion greens and some plantain. Got a nice salad. Whatever else you can find. Asparagus, fern. Let's see. Mulberries. They're just a little bit, they look like a little bit longer than blackberries. Early spring and, summer and early spring and early summer. They kind of lay out on a sheet. Yeah, they're a little bit flatter than like the blackberries are all over everywhere. And the mulberries are a little different. The ripe fruit will a lot of times just fall to the ground because they're heavier. So, but they can be eaten raw, or you can make syrup, you can make, whatever you've got. I'm saving mushrooms for next week because that's like a whole thing all by itself. But a fun one is persimmons. And persimmons come ripe in, I want to say, the fall. I'm pretty sure it's the fall. And if you've never eaten a persimmon, you have to eat a persimmon sometime. They make you pucker. They're really good though. They're orange and very, very full of all kinds of good stuff. The fun thing about persimmons is it's kind of, I think the first time I ever read this was like in the Farmer's Almanac or something, but they predict the weather. Apparently this is how it works. And I actually busted one open and looked at it for myself to see if it was like, what? Okay, so the seed, the kernel that's inside a persimmon, you break it open, and there's one of three shapes in there. There's a spoon, a fork, or a knife. If you see a spoon shape, if you don't believe me, Google this. It's really kind of interesting. God is so cool. Okay, so if you have a spoon shape, you should expect plenty of snow to shovel. Okay, if you have a fork shape, plan on a mild winter with a powdery light snow, but probably longer winter than usual. You might have to shovel. You might have to pitchfork hay to your animals. Okay, then the knife shape is expect a frigid winds that cut like a blade, like cut like a knife. So those are our winter predicting persimmons. It's very fun. So get a persimmon and try it. But you'll find them in the fall, usually. Okay, another one, and I just went out down my driveway and got this. This is staghorn sumac. There's several different kinds of sumac, not to be confused with poison sumac. Okay, this is not the poison kind. This is the real kind. Okay, and staghorn sumac, you can tell because the way it's growing, these things are always going to be facing up like horns. Okay, it also has 11 leaves on the branches. This is, again, anti-inflammatory, antimicrobial. It's a very soothing tea, and it's these things right here you can eat, like sprinkle on your salad or whatever. They have a really nutty taste, and they're really good. So yeah, this is not the poison kind. Poison sumac is different. Okay, this is staghorn sumac, and you'll find this everywhere. You just don't know what you're looking at. And at this time of year, it's this color. It doesn't turn this color till later in the year. I told you a little bit about the violets, and the flowers are nice too. You know, these usually are only out in the spring, but my violets this year have been out all year. I think they're confused. They make a really, the flowers make a really nice jelly too. Okay, I think that's it. And we just made it, just in time. Okay, now, again, if you want to watch anything else that we've done previously, go to Crooked House Herbal's Facebook page, Weeds and Wisdom, and we can view any of our previous lives. If you have any questions, you can email me at wendy@crookedhouseherbals.com, or you can message me on the Crooked House Herbals Facebook page. And if you have my phone number, you can text me. I'm good with that. I appreciate you guys watching. I hope you've learned something. I hope you're inspired. I hope you're inspired to do more, be more proactive, and to keep learning, because there's a lot to know. We learn more every day. But one thing we know for sure, nature heals us best. And I think that's been a hard lesson that we have, we've been through in the last 4 years. But it's a good one, because now we know we have options, and it's time for you to exercise them. All right, guys, I appreciate you all. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next week. We're going to talk about mushrooms. We're going to talk about a few other things that I didn't get to. I've got some other stuff that I've got coming up out in the yard and in the gardens, and I will be talking about those things as well. It's pretty fun, and I like it because I know if I've got it, you've probably got it. All right, if you're in this area at all. So until next week, God bless you all. Have a wonderful weekend, and I will see you soon. Take care.